Hello students, today we are going to introduce the DSP. So what is meant by the DSP? DSP contains the three major words or component: digital plus signal plus processing. In digital communication we use the discrete signals to represent the data using the binary numbers. Signal signal is a varying anything that carries the some information. It's physical quantity that conveys the data and varies with time, space, or other independent variable. It can be used in the time or frequency domain. It can be one dimensional or two dimensional. Next one is the processing. Here may be the DSP processor which performs the operation on the signal for the specific application. If the input signal is the image, then image processing can be done. If the input is a voice or audio file, the audio processing can be done. The performing the operations on any data in accordance with the some protocol or instruction known as a processing system. System is a physical entity that is responsible for the processing. It has the necessary hardware to perform the required arithmetic or logical operation on the signal. Here Next, what is the digital signal processing? So we can define the digital signal processing here. The digital signal processing is the process of representing the signal in discrete mathematical sequence of number and analyzing and extracting the information contained in the signal by carrying out the algorithmic operation and the processing on the signal. Next, this is the typical block diagram of the DSP signal or system. Here the microphone, here is the first entity is the microphone where we can use it as a transducer. Transducer applies the one energy and converts into the next energy. That is, if you consider the microphone, the input signal is the sound signal, and microphone will convert that sound signal into the electrical signal. And after this electrical signal is amplified by the signal conditioner, or signal should be amplified, or some parameter can be amplified through the signal conditioner. After the it is applied to the anti-aliasing filter where unwanted noise can be removed, and again the required um, frequency signal can be applied to the A to D converter. Before A to D converter, it should be applied to the, of course, sample and hold circuit, and after that the quantizer produces the rounding of the levels, and again that level will be sent to the analog to digital converter where the digitization of the signal can be done. Again it is fed to the processor. This processor may be the DSP processor where performs the different mathematical and arithmetic operations. Again it is performed to the fed to the digital to D to A converter, D to A converter, where the digital signal can be fed back again to the analog signal. Again after that it is fed to the smoothing filter. Again it is fed to the again signal conditioner, and again fed to the output device, that is a loudspeaker. So the first step is to get an electrical signal, that is a transducer which converts the sound signal into the electrical signal, and we use any transducer depending upon the case. So the first is the transducer where converts the digital signal, sound signal into the electrical signal. Now it is fed to the operational amplifier to condition, that is signal conditioner to amplify the signal or limit it to the protect for the next stages. So second it is fed to the signal conditioner. Again it is fed to the anti-aliasing filter. It allows the some frequency and attenuates the some frequency. That is, it attenuates the unwanted frequencies and allows the wanted frequency. Next it is fed to the A to D converter where the signal is converted into the digital form. Again it is fed to the modern processor of the DSP units where the different algorithms can be used for decoding or for the operation on the signal. The next stage is the again opposite of the previous stage or previous line. Again it is fed to the DAC where the signal is converted into the digital to analog signal. Again it is fed to the smoothing filter where low unwanted frequency can be removed, and again it is fed to the amplifier and the output to the speaker. So there are many applications of the digital signal processing. In case of the telecommunication, this is the first and biggest application of the DSP system. In the telecommunication, DSP can be used for the echo cancellation, equalization, that is equalization. If you tune your radio, so you are going to equalize the frequency. Next one, filtering, that is FIR like and IR. We are going to study this filter into the DSP, that is removing of the unwanted signals. Next, multiplexing and repeating the signals. This is the first application of the DSP. The second one, the instrumentation and control. So DSP can be used in the instrumentation and controlling of this kind of the application. In the designing of the phase lock loop, the DSP can be used for the frequency adjustment. Next, DSP can be used for the noise reduction kind of the circuits. DSP can be used for the compression of the signals because compression is required to save the memory. DSP used in the different function generators. Next, DSP is used in the digital image processing also. That is processing of the image, enhancement, reconstruction, restoration, face detection. So different image processing applications are used. Again, compression is the one of the application of the DIP where the DSP processor can be used. Next, speech processing. So the digital audio synthesis, the DSP used for the digital audio synthesis, speech recognition and analysis. Machine, in the medicine, it can be used for the X-rays, ECG, EEG. So the different medicine or medical application, the DSP can be used for the different machines for taking the X-rays, ECG signal, for the measuring of the EEG signal. Next, signal filtering. The DSP can be used in the signal filtering. The DSP can be used for the noise removal or shaping of the signal spectrums, etc. The DSP again used for the many military application for the sonar and navigation, or for the tracking of the enemy or analysis after the tracking in the radars. So DSP can be used. The next one is the major application of the DSP is the consumer electronics, where the it can be used in the music players, different instrumentation or musical instrumentation requires the DSP. Again, the professional music, or the in professional music instrument, the DSP can be used for synthesis. Next one is the advantages of the DSP system. The first advantage is the loss of less overall noise. Noise can be reduced by using the DSP since the signals are digitized and inherently process the low probability of getting the mixed with the unwanted signal, so that the entire system is the benefits. Thus, the DSP don't really have the much noise to deal with the comparatively. So DSP, due to the DSP operates on the digital signal, and digital signal is in the case of the binary like zeros and one. So there is a less probability of the noise is added into the signal, and due to the theory of the error detecting and correcting, we can remove that noise in the digital signal. Next, error detection and correction capability is possible in the DSP. If there is a presence of the digital signal, means we have to access the many error detection and correction features, and we can use the parity generation and correction as a detection and correction tools. So if the once your signal is digitized, that may be there is a error probability occurs. So that error can be removed by the different error detection and correction methods, as well as we can send that signal by using the some meta bit or some padding bit or some CRC bits with the signal or with the data, so that our data can be saved, as well as it not be corrupted while transmission from the sender to the receiver. Next, third advantage is the data storage is easier in the DSP. Yet the advantage, because the digital signal, you know that it is easy to store the digital data. That is, we can use the digital memory, and as well as the analog data needs to be stored in the tape stuff like it. But the digital data can be saved into the zeros and one, as well as we can whatever the digital data obtained with us, it can be compressed and saved, so the storage is easier. Next, the second next advantage is encryption, which is used for the security. Once the signal is digitalized, we can encrypt that signal for the security purpose. So by using the digital encryption method, so this is counts as a win for the entire DSP system. Next, easier to process. Digital signals can easily undergo the mathematical changes as compared to the analog counterparts. So, due to the many advantages of digital algorithm, the digital signal can be processed or changed or adapt in the mathematical changes, so that it is very easy to change that signal in the mathematical case, and it is very compared with the your analog signals. More data transmission. The time division multiplication is great tool available for the digital system to transmit more data over the minute time and over the single communication path. So by using the TDM method, that is within the available slots, we can divide that slots with the different signal, and the signal can be transmitted. Next, higher component tolerance in the DSP. The components like resistor, capacitor, inductor have the certain threshold in terms of the temperature, right? The outside of this threshold, as temperature increases, they might start behaving erratically. These components are not present in the digital system, and the digital system can increase their accuracy concept like floating point arithmetic. So there is a high component tolerance in the DSP. Easier to modify. This is the one of the advantage of the DSP. To modify an analog processing system, you need to change the component, taste and variety the changes. With the digital system processing system, you need to change the few components and alter the few lines of the code. So by using the programming tool, we can change the DSP application, and testing is very easy, and we can change or develop the variety of the code for the variety of the application. Next, the DSP system can work on the frequencies of the broader range. There are some natural frequencies like seismic frequency that detect the earthquake. These signals have very low frequency, and traditional analog signals might not even detect these signals. But the DSP system can adapt at picking up the tiniest disturbances and also the process them. And the last advantage is the cost. When working at the scale, the DSP chips are the DSP component are the very cheap because of the integration of technology. Next, as there are many advantages, so there are some few disadvantages for the DSP system. That is the complexity. This is the first disadvantage. So DSP is the one of the complex system. There are lot of elements preceding and following the digital signal processors. Stuff like filters, converters add the complexity of the system. Next, power. The digital signal processor is made up of transistor. Transistor consumes more power since they are active components. A typical digital signal processor may contain millions of transistors. This increases the power that the system consumes. Next, learning curve and design time. The learning lines and outs of the digital signal processing involves the step learning curve. And setting up the digital processing system takes the some time, and it is not pre-equipped with the right knowledge and tools. Right, so the time required. Next, loss of information, the quantization of the data that is below the certain hertz and causes the loss of the data accuracy to the rate distortion theory. The cost for the small system DSP is a very expensive endeavor, costing more than the necessary. Next one is the types of signal. The signal can be classified in many ways to help one understand and characteristic of the signals they are analyzing. We already checked the some elementary signals like unit step, ramp, parabolic, exponential, sine, signal function. Okay, so next one is there is some classification of the CT signal and DT signal. That's the continuous time signal and discrete time signal. The a continuous time signal is defined for all values of time, because this is one kind of the continuous time signal, and the x is depend upon the variable and t is the independent variable. Suppose this is the x of t, it is dependent variable and t is the independent variable, where there is an x of t for every signal value of the t, and it is a continuous. So if you take the any time value, the x of t signal is available. So that's it is called as a continuous time signal. Next one is the discrete time signal. Discrete time signal are defined only at a certain discrete values, referred to as the n, and it is denoted by the square brackets. So this is the discrete time signal. For examples, here in the continuous, in sinusoidal graph which have the time limit of infinity to the negative infinity are clearly as a continuous time. Here if you take the discrete time example, each time period having the 0 can be taken as the t1, t2, t3, right? And the difference between these time, it is represented by the del of t, that is the delta of t, and del of t is the next time period, that is t1 minus previous time period t0. Like way we can sample the signal, that is for the sampling, that is x of nt is used. That is common misconception is that the discrete and digital signals are contiguous, but they are very different. The discrete time signal, time is a discrete while amplitude is a continuous. However, the digital signals, both the amplitude and time are discrete. Next one is the deterministic signal and non-deterministic signal. Deterministic signal is where we can determine that signal by using the some mathematical expression. But in case of the non-deterministic signal, we cannot predict that signal or determine that signal with the help of some mathematical expression. So if you consider this is the sign of nt, where we can represent that signal into the mathematical form. But this is the case, in this case, we cannot represent this signal in the mathematical form. Even signal and odd signal. Even signal remain identical when they are reflected or mirrored across the y-axis. That is, x of minus t is equal to x of t at the t. That is, x of t is equal to cos of omega t, and x of minus t is equal to cos of minus omega t. That is cos of omega t. So this x of t and this x of t is even signal, right? But in case of the odd signal are antisymmetrical when they are reflected or mirrored across the y-axis. That is, odd signal is x of minus t is equal to minus x of t. So x of t is equal to sine of omega t. For example, x of minus t is equal to sine of minus omega t, that is minus sine of omega t, that is minus x of t. So this is a sine of omega t is the odd signal, even signal, sorry. Similarly, triangular and rectangular signals that have their midpoint at the t is less than n is equal to 0 are the examples of the even signals. And x of t is equal to t, x of t is equal to t3 are the examples of the odd signals. The sum of two or more even functions, the product of two or more even functions, or product of even and odd functions may result in the even functions only. But in case of the odd function, when t is equal to 0, the x of t is equal to 0, and the signal is passes through the origin, and also the mean and average of the signal should be the 0. But the sum of two or more odd functions results in the odd, and also the product of odd numbers of odd functions, such as the product of three odd functions and any other odd number, results in odd. Next, periodic signal and non-periodic signal. The signal is said to be periodic when it repeats itself for a regular interval of the time. When it is a periodic, it can be represented below. Like n is the integer value, t0 is the fundamental frequency, and that signal is repeated for the next cycle also. So it is a periodic signal. If the signal does not repeat itself after the regular interval, so this signal is nothing but the non-periodic signal. So this is the periodic. This signal repeats itself after the 2 pi, and the all speech signals are the non-periodic. Next, energy signal and power signal. Energy signal is defined as E is equal to integration of minus infinity to infinity mod of x of t square dt, and the power signal for the periodic, that is 1 by 2 1 by t integration of mod of x of t square dt. For the non-periodic, the power signal is the limit t tends to infinity, uh, interval of minus t by 2 to the t by 2 x of t bracket square t. The energy of the power signal is infinity, but the energy power of the energy signal is 0. The majority of the non-periodic signals are the energy signal, but the majority of the periodic signals are the power signals. The energy signals are limited, time limited. They exist only for the short period of the time, but the power signals are not time limited. They exist over the infinite period of the time. Thank you.